Hi, this is Belinda Colubriale and this is Talking High Performance with Belle. So I'm making this podcast for people who want to live their best life, people who know that there's more in them, but they just don't know how to get it. So there's a gap, something's missing, I'm making it for them.
Hi and welcome to another episode of Talking High Performance with Belle. I wanted to start today by talking about the release of my online course, Becoming You. So this is all about how do you become the best version of yourself and live a life that's authentic and congruent to you. So if you want to read more about it, head to my website or follow the link below. But let's jump straight in. And I can't believe that we're heading into the final stretch of the year. And this month, as you know, the topic is all about momentum. And to me, there are a few things better than living in flow. And as a self-confessed productivity nerd, which you already know, I'm really excited to talk about this. So today it's all about how do you accelerate momentum in different areas of your life in order to get you closer to living that high performance life where you feel successful, purposeful, and free. So let's jump straight in. So why is it important to understand momentum transitions in high performance living? And when we talk about having momentum, it's really important both personally and professionally because it drives our progress and it drives what we're doing and our productivity and therefore makes us more likely to reach our goals. And when we think about momentum on a personal level, we know that it helps us to maintain motivation, which makes us more likely to set goals, but also to achieve them. And it creates for positive changes and also a more positive mindset and that experience of fulfillment that we've spoken about previously. And when we think about momentum on a professional level, we know that it can propel our career growth, it helps with our performance, etc., etc. But sometimes we go through different transitions in life and this can impact our momentum. And so things could be going really well for a certain period of time, but then something happens, and this could be a change in job, or it could be a change in our personal circumstances, where we find out somebody's sick, or even a really big life event that can impact our momentum. And so finding our new groove can be really, really difficult to do. And if we don't do it properly, or if we're unsure of how to manage it moving forward, the transitions aren't effective. And if we don't have systems in place, it can really disrupt the flow of our progress and cause setbacks. And it can be really, really easy to lose that momentum that we've spent, days, weeks, even months building sometimes, if we're not really in tune with how to manage these transitions. And so I'm not saying not to focus on, that event that's happened or not to spend some time with that. Absolutely not. I'm just saying let's be really mindful of, recognizing where our momentum's going and if there are things that we can do to help us move forward. And it's all about being able to proactively manage the transitions and especially ones that we can anticipate coming up. We can create a plan for those, which will, allow us to more likely maintain momentum, but also ones that are a little bit more difficult. It's really important to recognize and reflect and go, okay, this is happening in my life and may not even be great, but how do I try and keep my momentum moving forward and make the best I can of a situation? And so when we notice we're losing momentum, when we notice we're not in flow anymore, it then becomes up to us to make those necessary adjustments to create that shift. And we need to be willing to make that transition. So what are some signs then that may indicate that you need a shift in momentum? So I want to talk about myself in creating my online course. So when I knew that this course would take up a significant amount of my time, especially in my content creation, I knew that there were things that I would need to dial down or put on hold for a certain period of time. Because for me, flipping between the tasks wouldn't serve me and wouldn't give me the progress or the result that I wanted. So previous to this, I always had a structure about when I would podcast, when I would, format my podcasts, and when I would create other content, whether it's ebooks or emails, and also when I would have, sessions with my coach. But for a few months, I dialed that down to focus on the course because that was something that I really wanted to hone in on and really get that momentum around. And I was able to do this because I'm really in tune with what I need to be most productive. And I've tweaked this over the years and sometimes it's still a work in progress depending on what I'm doing. but I recognize what works best for me. And so I was able to find that sense of flow. So that meant being really organized with my podcasts before the course creation and then after. But during that time, I had to really dial down, my podcast work to focus on this course. And it was about setting expectations, with different people around me saying, hey, it could be thanks for the email. I'm going to reply to you next week with this feedback or with these changes or with these tweaks, as I didn't want to disrupt my flow with certain tasks at certain times. So what are some signs then in your life that may indicate that you need a shift in momentum? And signs may include you feel really stuck in a particular situation. So it could be that you lack enthusiasm in the day-to-day, you're not enjoying what you're doing, and you feel this general sense of unhappiness or lack of fulfillment. And it's really important to pay attention to these signs and acknowledge, when a change is needed. So it's okay to feel not happy for a day or two, but if you notice this is becoming a certain pattern, is there something that needs to change? And as adults, we need to be self-aware enough and in tune with our emotions to go, you know what, I want more and I demand more from my life and I demand more of myself. Another sign that you might be needing a transition shift is a lack in clarity, which is causing you to feel stuck. So when you feel like you lack direction, it's really hard to get moving. So recognizing that there are parts in your life where you feel stuck and then thinking about how can I change that moving forward. And for me personally, I knew that if I had my focus on too many things, then I would lack clarity with the task right in front of me. So for me, it's about going, okay, let's just park that for a minute. Not to say it's not important, but just park that. Let's focus on this and then come back to that. And so that's a really, really important part, just having that clarity around, okay, where do I want to be and what needs to take priority at the moment? So I want to talk to you now about how do you build momentum in different areas of your life. And I want to end today's podcast with some self-reflection questions for you to contemplate when it comes to each of those areas. And I'll do that at the end. But first, let's go through the areas. And the first area I want to talk to you about is relationships. So when it comes to relationships, we have all different types of relationships with all different types of people. And it's important to recognize that we're not going to have the same relationship with everybody. So how do you build momentum in different relationships? Like some relationships you feel really connected to and you can go a little bit deeper in conversation. And so you build momentum by continually having conversations like that. Other relationships are really great for a laugh, and you know that you're always going to leave this group of people feeling really, really happy. So it may be about forward planning and building that momentum to continuously, see these types of people. Other relationships are great to learn and grow. So it's how do you find those relationships and how do you build momentum around them to feel like you're living a life where you're fulfilled and you're building those long-lasting connections. That's the first area. The second area is career. So when we think about success and fulfillment in our professional life, momentum is a huge driver of that. So it involves, how do you set goals and take consistent action and make progress towards them? And building momentum in your career requires continuously being able to learn and to adapt to new challenges and have that proactive mindset. So when it comes to your career, I want you to think about what are you doing to help build that momentum, to move you forward and to even separate yourself from those around you? What are you doing to seize new opportunities? The third area is health. So in order to perform at our best, health is the most important factor, I believe, whether it's mental health, physical health. Establishing healthy habits requires momentum, and it requires us to go, what do I have in my calendar this week or this month for self-care? Nothing. I need to book that in, whether it's regular exercise, whether it's practicing mindfulness, whether it's, seeing a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, whether it's doing some kinesiology, whatever it is, it's how do you look after that and incorporate that so it just becomes a natural part of life where you're building momentum and really feeling better and better along the way, and to lead a life that's vibrant and fulfilling. Another area is personal growth. Momentum is fundamental to our personal growth and development. So whether it's helping us to unlock our full potential or to embrace new possibilities, I believe that we can't do it without developing personally and without, working out where can we do better? What are we missing? How do we become more confident? How do we have even more energy? How do we develop more influence? Whatever it is that's important to us, personal development is key. Whether it's, reading a book, listening to a podcast, or getting somebody to help you, it's really hard to reach that next level of success if you don't have somebody sort of pushing you along and asking you guided questions in a way that allows you to find your own truth. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want to end by getting yourself to reflect on the past 6 months and seeing how did you go in each of these following areas, in each of these areas that we've just spoken about. So when it comes to relationships, I want you to think about, are you actively investing time and effort into nurturing and strengthening your relationships, whether it be with your loved ones, with your friends, or with your colleagues? So that's the first one. The second one is when it comes to career, are you consistently setting and pursuing new goals that will help you learn and grow? So how are you going in that area? When it comes to health, are you prioritizing your physical and mental well-being and, maintaining a balanced lifestyle? And what do you have booked in your calendar in the next month? What do you have booked to help you with your mental health? What do you have booked to help you with your physical health? And are you practicing enough self-care? And then the last one is when it comes to personal growth, what are you doing to develop on a personal level? So what are you doing to make yourself feel even more congruent to who you want to be and even more authentic? So what have you done in the past, but also what are you doing moving into your future? So there you have it, my top tips on how to accelerate the momentum in different areas of your life to get you on your way to living a high-performance life, and also some questions to ask yourself to begin that journey of self-reflection as well. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you don't want to miss next week, where I'll be continuing Momentum Month, talking all about how do you drive business momentum, and I'll be giving you 6 strategies to help you do just that. So until then, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life. Your coach, Belle.